Alright, go ahead and log on to Moodle. Here's the week we're in. Your projects for this week are due on Monday, February 2nd. It's chapter 4. You have 2 graded assignments and 1 skills exam. I'll go through all the activities you'll see in the chapter today in the lecture. So go ahead and download this chapter 4 lecture file and open it. And this is what the file looks like. And we'll edit this file with some advanced formattings. This chapter talks about styles. We're going to add charts in this chapter as well. I'm sorry, tables, not charts. This chapter goes through tables and format. And you actually have citations and references in this chapter, which is very important for your research papers. Yeah, I'll just make a note because I didn't. If you look on Moodle always starts at the top when you log in. I'll have the current week that we're on highlighted with this blue square so you know exactly where we are in the class on Moodle. Okay, good. So we have our start file here. So the first thing we're going to talk about is applying a page color. In Word, you can change the background color for your document. Usually makes text easier to read. In order to apply the page color, go to the Design tab at the top. Here's where all your themes and formats are. And if you look in the page background group, there's an option that says page color. You press the down arrow, then you get our standard color palette with the theme colors at the top, standard in the next section. So go ahead and choose an olive green accent 3 lighter 80. So if you look over here, just find something that looks olive and hold the mouse over it, and then you see the tooltip. This is accent 3. In the very first row, those are the solid colors. As it goes down, notice those colors just get darker. So it starts off light and then goes dark. So it says 80% lighter. So if we look here, hold the mouse over, same color, the same accent, but it goes lighter 80. And as you go down, they change. So that's the color we want. Is the olive green accent 3 lighter 80. So go ahead and click on that. It'll change our page color there and makes our text stand out much easier. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is apply a style to the entire document. several ways to do this. The easiest way is to use the Control A on your keyboard. If you hold the Control key and then tap A, that's a select all, and it'll select all of the text. If you're not good at remembering keyboard shortcuts, the other way to do it is go to in the on the Home tab, in the editing group, there's a select button. If you press the down arrow, there's a select all. Okay? So Control A on the keyboard, or Home tab, editing group, select all. And it selects all of the text. Then if you look to the right, there's a styles group. We're on the Home tab, a styles group there. These are all your different text styles. If you press this button here, this button is called the More button. Press the down arrow there and you get all the different styles. And under, these are the examples of styles. Underneath is the name of the style. So we're going to apply the quote style. So we find the one right there that says quote. Looks just like that. And just click on that to apply that style. Pretty simple. The thing that you're going to forget, most people forget, is selecting it everything first. Just save it somewhere. What are you trying to save it to? Just put it to the desktop. Click save. Then go and hit one of these buttons. Click on the file. We did the page colors. Page layout. Oh, sorry, design tab. And there's your page color. And that was the second olive color. And then you can go to home and select everything, go to select, and select all, and then apply your style. Do the quote style, so push the more button right there, the button right up above it, there you go. And see it says quote, there you go, that's where I have to go. Right, good. Okay. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is the hyphen. In Word, you can add hyphens. Notice that as the page, what happens is automatically Word sets up what's called text wrapping. So once you type a word, if the next word doesn't fit on the line, the whole word jumps down to the next row. But how many of you like to read books? You know how the book's always formatted nice and square? It begins and ends. Straight line, it doesn't have any of this jagged edges. Because most of the books are set up with hyphens. So that's what we're going to talk about next, is setting up, instead of it saying good morning and gadgets comes way down here, we can split that word and use all of the margins to make a nice block. So let's take a look at that. We go to the Page Layout tab, in the page setup group, there's something called hyphenation. If you press the down arrow there, there's several things you can do. You can automatically have Word hyphenate everything in your document, or you can go through and set them manually. We're going to set them manually for this exercise so you can see how it works. So go ahead and click on Manual, and Word will go through the document, and it chooses the first word that it would need to hyphenate. And it shows you here an example. And this is the word and how it's going to hyphenate it. So the word saying, it picked up say, added a dash, and the ing comes down to the next row. So see how that's worked? So that way it'll make everything in a nice straight line. To us, there's three things you can do when this Word document box comes up. You can accept the hyphenation by clicking yes. You can reject it by clicking no. And you can stop the entire process by pressing cancel. You can also adjust where the hyphenation goes. So for this one, go ahead and just click yes. Notice this one. What happens is on every syllable, Word is going to create a hyphen if the word is at the end of the sentence. So in this case, we may not want that many hyphens in that word because reading your document would become pretty complex if you had that many hyphens in the word. So notice the little blinking cursors blinking. It's asking you which hyphenation would you like to use. So let's click right here and use the hyphenation after VER. So go ahead and just click right there. And notice it moves the little cursor. If you click and you highlight the words like this, that's not going to work. Word is not going to know what you mean by clicking there. You have to click on the hyphen. So click on the hyphen right there, and the little block shows. So then you're telling Word, I want to use this hyphenation and not these. So just go ahead and click yes there. And it'll accept. And then let's not hyphenate this word at all. So just click no. And then the last one says gadgets. Questions on that hyphenation? Okay, click cancel there. And we have a few words. All right. The next thing we're going to do is create a citation when you're working with your research projects. You're going to want to cite your work where you found your data from for your research paper. So in order to do that in Word, of course you could manually type them and format them, but Word actually creates these for you in your specific format. So let's take a look at inserting a citation. If we go to the References tab at the top, you see there's a group that says Citations and Bibliographies. The first thing you want to do is choose a style. Are you guys writing in APA or MLA format? MLA? No, you haven't made it? So here's your style. There's several different formats of writing. You'll have MLA, usually where it starts. So if you push over here in the style, press the down arrow, several different types. We'll do the MLA 7th edition, so click there. And then we're going to insert a citation. So look at that big button right there and press the down arrow and click Add New Source. And the first thing that asks you is, what type of source are you referencing? What do you want to cite? So if you look at the down arrow, several different things. Depending upon what your article is will depend on the type of formatting and how it looks and the different pieces of information that's needed. There's books, there's journals, periodicals. You can even scroll down to websites, document from a website. These are two most commonly confused. If you're citing a website is one thing, but if you go to a website and it opens up a PDF, that's a document from a website. So it's two different things. You'll learn more about that in your English classes. But just take a look at that list. Several different things: electronic source, art. So we're going to choose the book. And the first thing it asks you for is the author. So we're going to make believe that we're creating a book for this class. So put your name there as the author. And in the title, it's going to be this class, so CSCI 105. And put this year, 2016, and City of Conway. Publisher is going to be CCU. And you can leave medium alone. To create your source, this is the minimum amount of information you need. If you're working and it says it needs another field that doesn't exist, if you click Show All Bibliography Fields, click that little checkbox, then you'll get many different options. The more detailed that you can add, more details you can add to your citation, the better it will look for your presentation, for your project. In the medium, just put book. It's fine. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Stars are all the recommended fields. Then everything else is optional. Okay. Let me get that one. Alright, go ahead and click OK there. And nothing really happens yet, because we haven't added anything to our article. But if we click on the down arrow under citation, notice we have the citation that we create. And the more you create in here, you'll have a list. Questions on the citation? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our citations and we're going to create a works cited page. How many of you have done a research paper you've had to make a works cited page? And you got to type all that stuff over and over and over. Well, Word will make that for you once you've added your sources. So you add your sources in there. And we're still in the same spot, still under references, citations, bibliographies. Press the down arrow on bibliography, and at the very bottom it says works cited. Actually, I think I skipped this. Oh, that's fine. Go ahead. Where's our cursor at? That's not going to work. Okay. Click away from that for right now. Come down and put the cursor to the right-hand side of the period on name and insert a new page. So go to Insert, and then over on the far left says Pages. We're just going to insert a blank page right there. So then our cursor is blinking on the blank page. So now go to References and then push the down arrow for Bibliography. and click the Works Cited. And it automatically pulls in our book reference, gives it a little title, and everything that we had in our citations will show. If you had nothing in here, it's just going to say no sources found, but it'll still say Works Cited up top. And actually, I think your activity, you make a Works Cited page with no content. All right. Let's highlight this text right up under email. And we're going to make this 2 columns. I think we can do it. We go to the page layout tab. There's inside the page setup is columns. Press the down arrow and make it 2 columns. So go down to number 2 and click. See if it's going to work. And it will automatically divide your text into 2 separate columns. So that's really good for your research papers if you have tables and charts there. Then we're going to make a divider. We're going to put a line between the 2 columns. So in the same spot, go up to columns and click on more columns. And with this, in this box, it allows you to add a line between the 2 columns. So just click right there to place a line between them. And click OK. And you'll have a line down the center between your 2 columns. Now we're going to insert a table. So click to the left of the word "the" and press Enter twice. Press Enter twice. Then go up to the columns, and we're going to make it 1 column. To remove that. And then go to the right of name and press Enter twice. And so your cursor should be all the way over to the left in the blank spot. Okay. We get that spot. Take off the columns. Take it back down to 1. There you go. Good. Everybody else? Everybody got it? Okay. Now we're going to insert a table. So if we go to Insert tab, look over, there's a Tables group in the far left. Press the down arrow under Table, and you get a little grid display. This is asking you how many columns and how many rows do you want in your table. So all you do is take the mouse over and just drag around to this table section. We're going to make a 3-column, 4-row table. So first row we do the columns, so just hold the mouse, you're not clicking anything. Go 1, 2, 3, and then come down 4 rows. 1, 2, 3. So now we have 1, 2, 3 columns and 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. So all I'm doing is just holding the mouse over and drawing the box. It also tells you it's a 3x4 table, which means 3 columns, 4 rows. So just click there once you have that, and it'll throw your table there. Several things that happen. Notice on our ribbon we get a new tab section that says Table Tools, and in that says Design and Layout. So the table acts as an object inside Word. And the first column is highlighted, and there's a blinking cursor inside there so we can type. So we're going to just type some information into the block. Let's just put class over there. Just type the word class and then press the tab key. If you press tab, it jumps over to the next column. So press tab. And then say time. And then say day. Usually the first row in your table is going to be your headings, which describe the information in the column. So that's what we did there. We're going to put a class, time, and day. So then press enter. Oops, don't press enter. Sorry. Press tab again, and it'll take you down below class. So fill out this chart. How many of you don't have at least 3 classes right now? How many of you have 2 classes? Okay. Go ahead and fill in the class. If you just have 2, that's fine. Just fill in. Put your class and the time and the day of the class meeting. So, CSCI 25. Just keep pressing tab and filling it out. Okay, now we have a table with some information in it. The first thing we're going to do is format our column headings. So let's look at the mouse function really quick. We'll notice you move the mouse right now, it looks like an I, and that means it's going to move your insert point. If you move the mouse over to the right hand side of the first row, the mouse points to this row. That will allow you to select the entire row. If you move the mouse to the top of the column, the mouse points down. If you were to click the mouse there, it's going to highlight that entire row. So we're going to highlight that entire column rather. So let's highlight the row. So hold the mouse over to the right hand side of class and just click, and it'll highlight that entire row. And then you get your special little quick formatting or mini toolbar there. And let's just bold and make the text 12. So just press on the bold button and change the text to 12. Okay. Nothing new there, it's just a different way to interact with the text. You're going to select the rows on the table. Okay, the next thing is your activities will say readjust the columns so that way the text displays properly. It just means remove a bunch of these white spaces or add extra space if you have long text. So in order to do that, if you take your mouse and hold between the two columns, notice you get a split arrow. That means you can click and hold and move either to the left or to the right to shrink this column. So click here and just shrink it as close as you can to that text. Click and drag and you can shrink it on over. And then you can do the same thing to the time. Shrink it here. Wonder why it took. Hold on. Click away from your selection. If your table went off kilter, just push this undo button and then click away so the selection comes off, and that way you can move the entire column. And just shrink it down so that way the table doesn't have a whole bunch of white space. If it was too large, if the columns are too small, notice how my text just drops down. We don't want to do that. We want it to be everything to fit right there in one row. So just shrink the table so it looks nice and neat. There's divided up. So just not the other one. Just put that a few times. Okay, now let's redo so you get your bowl back. Now click away from it. Just click somewhere in here. Okay, now adjust it. Okay, now we have our table, we can click Save there. And let's scroll up to our document. And we have our heading right here for our title. That's our little title. So let's highlight Gadgets Inc. and Employee Handbook. And we're going to change that and make it the title style. So if we press the down arrow here, then you can see where it says title. Go ahead and click there, and it'll give you pre-formatted text. Now, of course, we can adjust this text to do the same thing as we just did to change the style. We can increase it to 28 and change the font. But does anyone know why we would rather use the styles up here versus just changing it in the Word document? There's several reasons. One, it'll blend with your theme that you've chosen. Also, if you decided that you didn't like the text in the theme and you changed the entire theme, it would change all of your headings and subheadings for you without you having to go back through the document. So as many styles as you can use, you'd want to. That way when you change the style of your document, everything changes all at the same time. Also, when you're adding these references and table of contents, all of that information will look for the titles, the headings, the subheadings to create your document for you automatically. So that's how you will tag different sections of your page for these tools to work for you. So as much as you can, use the styles when you're creating your document. Okay, so that's the heading style for this particular one. Then, notice we have telephone right here. And so let's change these to a heading 1. So same thing, press the down arrow and click heading 1. And it will change that telephone to over there. And then take meetings, and we'll make that one heading 2, just so you can see the difference. And go through and do email as heading 2. There. So now we've got those formats in there. Okay, save that. Okay, then we also want to style our table. So we made it nice and neat by shrinking all the rows, but we can also give this table a style to make it easier to read. When you select this table, it's an object inside Word, so as soon as you hold the mouse over, you get this 4-point square. This means it's going to select all 4 corners of the object. In Word, you have to select the text in order to tell it you want to change it. So a habit would be you want to try to click the mouse here and drag across this. But that's not the best way to select the table, because it's not going to select all of the data inside. So click this 4-point arrow, and it will select the entire table. And that tells Word, I want to work with the table and the content inside of it. And we're going to apply. Now notice once we've clicked it, we get the new table tools up at the top. So we're going to change the style for this table. So go up to the Design tab in Table Tools. And notice there are several pre-made table styles that we can use. Press the More button there. This section is broken into plain tables, if you see the category group right there, and grid tables. So when you're picking and choosing a style, the first thing it's going to say is apply a grid table 5. And what we're going to do is apply a grid table 5 darker style to the table. So first we know we need to go to the grid tables, and then the columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe is what it is. Let's look. Grid tables, 1, that's 1, 2, so this is the rows, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So grid table 5, and that's dark, and it wants the dark style, so that's the one we choose. You just hold the mouse over it again and read the little tooltip. So we're going to do grid style table 5 darker. So click there, and notice it automatically makes the first row our titles, and then it even does the first column. And it makes it a little bit easier to read, or stands out for you better. So now we're going to align the first row of our table. So again, if you remember from earlier, take the mouse over and just hold the mouse to where it's pointing to that first row, and then click. It's hard to see on the black that it's selected, so you have to look out to the edge to see that that one row is selected. And with your table, if we go to the layout section, with your table you get special alignment because you're allowed to align the text within that cell. The cell is the intersection of the row and the column. And you can align it top left, middle left, bottom left, if we look in the alignment group. So just move the mouse over those and take a look at a few of them. We want it to be bottom left corner. So there's, see, that's alignment bottom left is here. So it simply goes top, middle, bottom, left, middle, and right. So this is the one we want to choose. align bottom left. Then the last thing is our table's nice, but it's pushed all the way over to the side. You probably want to center that so it catches your eye a little more. The textbook is going to say horizontally center the table, and all that means is just center it like as if it's text. So of course, first thing you have to do is select the entire table. So how do we do that? Good. 4-pointed square right here. Click that, select the entire table, and then you have to go to the Home tab and just press our center button. The book, again, is going to say horizontally center the table on the document. So that means select the table, go to the Home tab, press the center button, and it'll center that table, or horizontally align it. Okay, good. Any questions? All right, very good. That's chapter 4. Save that document to your files. And then for this chapter, you have the graded project 1 and 9, and then chapter 4. This one is a extremely short project. This one's a little longer, and the test is, I think, 20 questions. And they're all due.